It's time for Zion Williamson to grow up. The oft-injured Pelican star got himself suspended for last night's game against the 76ers, a game the Pelicans happened to win despite the absence of Zion, but he's missed the bulk of the season and now can't be bothered to show up on time for his teammates. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Let's get into a concerning problem here for the Pelicans, for Zion, and for the NBA as a whole. So Zion Williamson did get himself suspended, issued a pretty nice statement, a pretty well-written statement about this. David Griffin, the GM of the Pels, said this one-game suspension is a result of failing to meet our team standards. His dedication to this organization is of paramount significance to us and to him. He has taken accountability for his actions and reaffirmed that commitment to the team today, and I'm confident he will continue to evolve positively on and off the floor. In other words, don't diminish your trade offers for Zion Williamson. This is just a blip on the radar. Pay no attention to this. Everything is fine. Zion says, I take full responsibility for this suspension. Well, where was that responsibility when you had to actually, show up? I've worked extremely hard in rehab to get healthy and to deliver for this team. There's no excuse for being late to team activities. I've apologized to Mrs. Benson and my teammates and coaches, and I also owe an apology to the fans. I can and will be a better teammate. So here's the thing. First of all, it's very well written here by Zion Williamson in this apology. But the problem is this isn't the first time this has happened. If this was a one-time, oh shoot, I forgot to set my alarm. My alarm didn't go off. The power went out, right? The damn rooster didn't crow. Whatever it was, a one-time thing, hey, you know what? It happens. It happens to all of us. No big deal. You move on. No. You don't get suspended for a one-time thing. Chris Haynes says Williamson has been late for multiple practices this season, which has contributed to the suspension. That's why this is a bigger deal. That's why this is a bigger deal than just, oh, shoot, I overslept or something like that. And here is the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that a guy like Zion Williamson has spent his whole life being bigger, faster, stronger than everyone else. Look at his highlights in high school. He looks like the Hulk going against the Chitauri, right? He's just smashing everyone in sight. He is a wrecking ball. And that is really the frustration of all of this, because Zion is a breathtaking athlete. But why is he late to stuff? Because people will wait for him. His whole life, people have waited for Zion Williamson because he is that next level of athlete. But here's the problem. When you get to the NBA, when you are professional, when you are making $36 million, there is a responsibility that comes with that. And not to get to Spider-Man here, but with the powers that Zion Williamson has, the abilities that he's got when he's on the court to be a next level player, that comes with a certain level of responsibility that he simply has to live up to. Now, look, he's 24 years old. We all do dumb stuff at 24. I did some really stupid stuff when I was 24 years old. But the fact of the matter is that the money says he's got to be better than this, especially when we look at his teammates. That's the big thing here, right? It's not so much, look, did you disappoint the organization? Yes, and that absolutely matters. Did you disappoint the fans? Yes. But who you really don't want to disappoint is the guys that you've been making play without you all season. No, it's not Zion's fault, right? Injuries happen. I'm not going to blame a guy for injuries. But if you've been out injured the entire season and you are the guy for your franchise, you damn well better show up on time. You haven't been able to play all season long. That should be your primary focus. That should be your obsession right now, is getting yourself back onto the basketball court. You look at Zion Williamson's game log, look at every time he plays, it's insane. 31 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, right? Played 5 games, sits out 2, plays 1 more, out for the bulk of the season. Finally comes back. The Pelicans have had the season from hell. Everybody's hurt. Herb Jones just got hurt. Just announced that yesterday too, as if things can't get bad enough for the Pelicans. You think about how bad things have been for this organization. 22 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, his first game back, 9 of 15 shooting, like he never left. Throws down a ridiculous windmill dunk, all of that, sits out the next game. Okay, second night of a back-to-back. That's fine. That happens. That happens all the time. Star gets hurt, comes back. You don't want to play in back-to-back situations. No problem. And then Zion, for the next game, is late to the team playing, has been habitually late all season, and gets himself on the bench yet again, this time because he's suspended and not because he's hurt. And his teammates have to go out and play without him once more. You think about the strain on the team of not having Zion there. You would think that for the sake of his teammates, he would make sure that he's on time, that he's there. And I'll tell you the other thing. I think what gets lost in all of this, it's leadership. And you know what? Not everybody is born a leader. It's just a fact. Not everybody is born. Not everybody has that gene. Not everybody is born a leader. But you know what? When you're the highest paid player on your team, when you've got the type of talent that Zion has, you have to become a leader. And for some people, that means being vocal. For some people, that means you lead the way with your words. For other people, that means you set the example. Some people are not super confident with their words, but they can still lead by example, by doing the right thing. And the money says, and the status says, that Zion Williamson has to lead by example. Well, you can't do that when you're not showing up on time. Culturally, for your team, when you are the guy and you're setting the example of we don't show up on time, that is poison. That's poison for your organization. There has to be an understanding that whether he likes it or not, he is in a leadership position. You may not be the most vocal person. You may not consider yourself to be a leader. If you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, too bad. You've got to develop those leadership traits. Same thing. If you want to be a superstar, you want to be the guy, just as Zion has been for every damn team he's ever played for, yeah, you'd better figure out the leadership piece to this. And it will take time and it will take growth. And David Griffin says everything's fine and everything's okay. And we're confident he's going to be on the right track and all of that. But I think this is just another piece warning the Pelicans that if you can get out right now, if you can find a trade, look, we know Zion didn't want to be a Pelican. He wanted to be a Knick. It's part of why he fired his agent, because he was mad his agent didn't get him to the Knicks. Dude doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to show up on time. He's been out most of the season with injury. Not going to blame him for that. But he finally comes back and he still isn't taking over that role as a leader on the team. Maybe it is time to get out. Maybe if he really doesn't want to be there, it's time to get out on Zion Williamson if you are the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, here's the bigger problem, though, for the NBA. The bigger problem for the league as a whole, it's that LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And look, I know there's other talents in the NBA. There's other talent. Look at what Giannis can do. You look at Jokic. You look at Luka. There's some real talent in the league. But the NBA is very clearly searching for who is going to be the next face of the NBA. Is it going to be Wemby? Is it going to be the inverse of Wemby, right? In Zion, think about it. Wemby is 1,000,000 feet tall, arms and legs everywhere and all of that. Meanwhile, you've got Zion Williamson, who is literally the fourth heaviest player in the NBA. And that's not even a complaint about his weight. I know he's got weight clauses in his contract and all of that. He is the fourth heaviest player in the NBA. Dude is 6'6", and he's the fourth heaviest player in the NBA, which to me makes it all the more amazing that he can do the things that he can do. He's got 30 pounds on the next heaviest sub 6'6" player. The next guy that is 6'6" or shorter is David Roddy, and Zion Williamson has 30 pounds on him. He is a damn tank. And because of that, because of the absurd athleticism that he's got in a Herculean body, people will come out to watch this guy. When we're talking about LeBron, the clock is ticking. Steph Curry, the clock is ticking. Kevin Durant, the clock is ticking. The NBA is a superstar-driven league. This is bigger. The responsibility, it's bigger than just what the Pelicans need out of Zion Williamson. The NBA needs Zion Williamson to figure it out and step into the role that should be his. Zion, part of the reason why the Pels were not as upset about losing Anthony Davis is because they got Zion Williamson in that next draft. He should be the next face of the NBA. He is a breathtaking athlete, and he's somebody that could be the face of the league if he's able to stay healthy, but he's got to get his head on straight. Ja Morant may have been on that path, and then he got himself suspended last season for all kinds of nonsense. We've seen it. Ben Simmons was at one point going to be that guy. Clearly, That didn't work out. You look at the other guys around the NBA. Anthony Edwards, is he going to be it? Maybe, but he's also come up short in a lot of situations, and now he doesn't like to be double teamed. On top of that, he can't avoid saying dumb things and getting himself fined as well. The path is wide open for Zion Williamson to potentially become the face of the NBA. All he has to do is live up to the potential that he possesses. Now, again, I'm not going to fault the guy for injuries. Injuries happen. They suck. Players don't want to get hurt. And then maybe that's just the fact. Maybe it's as simple as a human being weighing 284 pounds at 6'6" is not meant to do the things physically Zion Williamson could do. Maybe that's it. Maybe Zion's body is just not meant to play professional basketball, but I hope that is not the case because the talent that he has is absolutely incredible. But it's time for him mentally. I know he's dealt with injuries, but it's time for him mentally to live up to what the Pelicans, to live up to what the NBA need this man to be. He's still just 24 years old. There is time for him to turn it around, but he's got to get serious about basketball in a way that he's never had to before. He's got to get serious about the game. He needs to set the example, be the first one getting on the plane, be the first one to practice, be the last one to leave. He has to instill that culture because he has that kind of power. He has to be that culture because he can, not just for the Pels, but for the NBA. What we're talking about is a lot bigger than one team. What we're talking about is perhaps the next face of the league, or certainly one of the young faces of the NBA. They already missed out on a potential star in Ben Simmons for a variety of reasons. The NBA, given the situation they're in right now, given everything that's gone on with ratings, they simply cannot afford for Zion to turn into a bust. And I fear that that's the path we may be going down if he can't get healthy. And then when he is healthy, if he doesn't show the proper respect to the game. So if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm looking at trade options with Zion Williamson. Seriously, looking at trade options right now with Zion Williamson. And you know what? That may actually be the best thing, not just for the Pels. It might be the best thing for Zion. Maybe that's what it takes to shake some sense into him. Maybe that's what it takes to get him to start taking basketball a bit more seriously, at least serious enough to show up on time and not get yourself suspended. And if so, then that's also the best thing for the NBA. The Pelicans need him to figure it out. Zion needs to figure it out. And the NBA needs him to figure things out. Let me know in the comment section down below if you think Zion is going to get it at some point. If Zion is going to be able to take his game to that next level and ascend to that spot that we can all see for him. Can Zion Williamson become the face of the NBA? Or will injuries and perhaps mentality be his undoing? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin.